Okay, hello everybody. This is our car chat. I will be talking about when I was at Disney Magic Kingdom at the parades department, and one of my friends kind of outed me to my boss, and I ended up getting ran off the job. And I just remember, back at that time, and it's gonna have some.
Good sources.
It's gonna have some moving parts, so it'll be from that time moving forward to when I got ran off and the people that I encountered. So this is about friends, past friends and future friends and all of that. So we're talking about my quote friends. So when I found out in 1999 that I was trans, it was with a girl that was trans that I didn't really know much about her, but she was the first one who actually said it to me, to my face, and made it very clear, like, hey, you need to stop playing around with your sexuality and just own who the hell you really are. And her broken Spanish and everything. I can call her Leah back then. She changed her name. And I just went down a rabbit hole with that. And I told this gay guy that I knew that I had went to see someone that had started transitioning. He went and told my boss, who then in turn started to, dig her claws into my tea and want to, basically run me off the job. And that's basically how I ended up getting ran off the job, because I didn't have a strong support system to keep me in place and keep me with my seniority, because Disney's very much a seniority company, and I was at the top of seniority. But when she got through taking all my shifts away and giving everything away and just sticking me out in the park, I couldn't make money anymore, and it made it very, very difficult to pay my mortgage, pay for my Jeep, just to put food on the table, pay for gas. Everything just went haywire. Well, the gay friend, didn't seem to care about that. He just kept saying to me, you need to stay here, deal with what you got to deal with. This is what happens when you're trans and blah, blah, blah. But in the meantime, I knew I was going to have to leave because I could no longer afford to support myself. He didn't seem to care about that. And that showed me right there that he wasn't really a true friend. He was more of instigator and someone who didn't want to see me come out of the suffering that I had been living in. Because prior to me discovering that I was trans with this girl, I was literally, just by the grace of God, I met her. I was thinking about taking my life by just taking a bunch of pills and ending it, and nobody would have found me because nobody was really checking for me like that. I was just another dark-skinned person on the planet that's just in the way of all the other people around the planet who just think that they're everything else due to colorism. And so, thank God I met that Mexican girl, and she pretty much sent me down a rabbit hole, and that trajectory changed my life. For me personally, it was the best thing that could have ever happened, because I just was not fitting in all those other boxes that, Levitical community fall under. Well, I left Disney. Well, no, let's go back to Disney. While I was still there and going through the struggle, I had some of my college friends come down at different times. I'd been at the company for 10 years and was so happy to see them and stuff like that at the different times that they came. And when I got ran off from Disney, I bounced around. I bounced around from Arizona into Florida, back and forth for a while. And when I got back here in this local town where I'm originally from, I ran into one of my friends that had previously seen me out at Disney, and she basically said she didn't want to have anything to do with me anymore, just because she didn't believe that I was really, a trans or whatever, and that I didn't have, gainful employment. Like, I was still struggling just to kind of adjust to this local town. And she just pretty much, I was just like a piece of dirt under her feet, even though we went to college together and all that kind of stuff. And then the other friend pretty much followed suit with her because, they basically had, better a better situation going on financially than I did. And they didn't like the fact that I was, trans or whatever. So I cried and I had to just suck it up because I was like, well, I'm going to have to say goodbye because this is not going to work. Like, I can't be friends with people who will just stab me in the back over, the small stuff. And I thought our friendship would never end because we went through so much in college together, partied and all kinds of stuff. And as our lives were changing, they always pretty much kept in touch with me. And the fact that they, I just couldn't believe it. Like, I just, it's shocking. The people that you think is going to be in your life forever are just only there for a momentary thing, and they leave you for whatever reason. And it hurts. It's a horrible, horrible feeling to lose people that you feel like they're going to be in your life forever, like your forever friends. The people that you don't think that's going to be around, the ones that are just kind of, they're friends with you, but they're not the ones that you went to college with or grew up with or anything like that. It's the same thing. Like, they could be the ones that come around for a lifetime, which I have a girlfriend like that. I met her at Disney, and she pretty much have kept in touch with me no matter where I've been on the planet. And so she's been more of my ride or die than anybody else, And I've met so many people. It's amazing how many people I've met on this whole journey, and how many people that were in my life at the time that I was at Disney who kind of dropped off the way, off the radar. We all follow each other on Facebook, but we don't really talk. Some of them they've fallen down the rabbit hole of political stuff, abortion rights, anti-gay rights, and stuff like that. And they post these kind of like trigger things, trigger posts that, if you're gay, then, you're going to hell. It's a sin, blah, blah, blah. And they're doing that because they've gone down a rabbit hole of people around them that have programmed them to think that way. But when we were all together at Disney, remember I was there for 10 years, none of that stuff seemed to matter to them because we all were hanging out, partying, going out to eat, doing stuff together all the time. And it's like, what the hell happened to that person? It's like I don't even know them anymore because all the time we spent together, they weren't political at all, And so it's shocking to me to see, almost 20 years later, how people changed, and they don't seem to, keep in touch or talk or anything. They just on their own banter of whatever's going on in their lives. And how I never thought that those people who spent that much time with me would go down that rabbit hole and be so far leaning into the political world, which is like, really, you? But it's just amazing to me how this world works. And it's like, I know the people that don't know me, that can judge me and stuff like that and say stuff, but I don't really care about them because I know who I am, and it doesn't matter to me what the outside world thinks. But those people who have spent time with me, and I literally have been with them, in crucial times in their lives, how those people have just fallen off the radar and are no longer accessible, or just for whatever reason they've gone down a political hole. Like, probably I would say since COVID, I've seen a shift in certain people that I spend a considerable amount of time with. We don't really talk. I see them on Facebook posting stuff, but I'm like, oh wow, really? Because I know all their dirty secrets, If those people that they associate with knew some of the dirty secrets that I knew about them, would that really matter to them, knowing that they've been even hanging out with a trans person, that that I personally know how they are way back when? Like, really, it's amazing to me how this world works, because it's like, you weren't that saintly person back then, but somehow now you're here telling everybody else and judging everybody else based on your thoughts and putting it out here. And it don't bother me, because those are my friends. I know who they are, even though we don't talk. I know that that's when they were with me. They weren't all political and judgy and stuff, because they was doing the same stuff that I was doing in Orlando at Disney. So if like, y'all ain't no saints, so stop. I just ignore it. But it's sad. Like, it's sad to say that there were people who were literally trying to stop me from living my truth, and I was on the verge of suicide. Like, I was so close to doing it. And had I not met that Mexican girl, I don't think I would be here. And moving forward, there's just been people in and out of my life, and I have an inner peace that you can't see it, you can't feel it, because you weren't the one who was suffering. You're judging people based on your own random thoughts. You don't do any research. You don't believe in science. You believe the earth is flat. You have all these random thoughts in your head, but that shit don't mean anything at the end of the day when you're trying to live your everyday life in a body that you can't identify with. That stuff don't matter to me. But what matters to me is I have peace of mind, and that I know I did the right thing for myself. At the end of the day, it don't really have anything to do with people lying and trying to make you into the monster under the bridge and stuff like that. And they can lie and lie and lie all they want, but these people are out here in the world, and they're fixing their lives. They're not hiding in the shadows. They're not trying to do anything but just exist, and exist with a peace of mind. And I think for me, I thank God for the peace of mind that I got from that girl that sent me down that rabbit hole, that put me on the trajectory of being able to figure shit out, because it took a long time for me just to figure it out. And had I had a friend like that way back when I was a little bitty kid, maybe I would be in a better situation mentally, a lot sooner than later, and I think that's one reason why I'm always like, damn, 30 years is a long time to be walking around not understanding shit. And then once you understand it and you look back on your life, you're like, fuck, all this time, and I got ripped off. Like, my life got stolen from me based on other people's prejudices, other people's religious belief, other people's thoughts, coming from a very small town, coming from very close-minded religious people and stuff like that. And these friends that really was holding me together like glue at that time had no clue that I was suffering inside and suffering in silence, and behind my smiles was a lot of pain, internal pain, self pain that was going on in my head, and in the outside world can't really see that. Only the person who's going through it knows that they're going through it. And I was going through it for a long time, and I was struggling since I would say since high school. I think it started in high school, and then it just carried me throughout my life, all the way up until the time I graduated from college, until the time I got to Disney. And when I got to Florida, that's when I slowly started to kind of let my hair down, per se, and figure shit out. And I just, really, this is about friends and people, and people come in your life for a moment just to, I always say these people were just in my life just to keep me afloat, to keep me from falling down and taking my own life, because I was struggling to figure shit out. And then once I figured it out, then people start to turn on you and hate you. And I'm like, well, I'm the same person. This is what the direction that I'm going in. And either you're going to be in the picture or you're not. So a lot of people dropped out of my life, and oh well, they just don't get the best of me, and I think the best of me was definitely figuring it out for myself. And the people that are in my life now, my new friends and stuff, they're so sweet and so supportive and everything. Like, I don't even think about any of that stuff anymore. But I thought about it today when I was on my way to work. It just kind of thought like, wow, I've gone through a lot of people since then and up until now. And all the people that I thought were going to be in my life are gone out of my life. And the people who are in my life now, these new people and just a couple of old friends, are still around. Like, there's some that are still dwindling here and there, and then there's others that they're gone. And oh well, it is what it is. But I love it. Like, I don't have any regrets about anything. I would tell you or anybody else, if I had to go through all that hell again, I would walk through that fire, glass, fall off that mountain, or whatever I got to do to get to where I am now. Because the peace that I feel on this side of that is so immense and so important, and it's so freeing, as opposed to trying to fit in a box that didn't even make any sense. I live in a body that was foreign to me from day one, and not having a language or having access to the internet or having a internet around that long ago, coming from that small town. Because back then there was no AOL, there was no Facebook, there was none of that stuff. You just had Straight People TV, Leave It to Beaver, and Little House on the Prairie, and that was it. There was not even no cable TV, I don't think, back then. So it's just amazing to me how this world works and how friendships work. Like, it's just it's so interesting. And so I had to share that, and I hope it helps somebody, like, in your journey. If you have people in and out of your life, that's the norm. If you're trans, like, people come in for a reason, go out for a season. They'll be there for you before you know what the hell's going on. And then once you say it out loud, the quiet part out loud, they turn on you like a barrel of rattlesnake. So sometimes you have to let people go and learn how to spend a little time with yourself till you get the right people in your life, because sometimes that's just what it takes. You just have the right people in your life, because having the wrong people in your life can make you lose your job. It can make you damn near lose your life if you get around people who don't have your best interests. So always be aware of your surroundings. And I always say the fewer people, the better, because, people be jealous. They be hating you. They be praying to the gods to take you down and all kinds of stuff. And they've lost themselves at that point, because why are you doing all that to another human being when you could be having your best life, living your best life? You're so worried about other people that you're praying to God to kill somebody, to take somebody's life, because you're jealous. And that's what it basically boils down to, is jealousy. You want to see, why would anybody want to see somebody else take their lives or die or something like that, or be killed and murdered, and then you get on your platforms and be happy about it, and you call yourself a trusting, loving person. Some of them say that they're Christian, and I'm just like, how? Because to me, a God is love. I don't care what God it is, but all of them say that they're a loving God. So how could you be a part of something that you're behaving like that? So it is food for thought. And this is my car chat. It's going to be 20 minutes long, so I'm going to have to chop it up and cut it up. It's pretty much my time at Disney, so I'm going to put a lot of Disney reels in there so you can kind of have an idea of what I was doing when I was there. Having a good time and loving it, and I love all these videos. And I'll try to find some of my old pictures of me when I was at Disney, and those will be the still frames. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to comment, please like, share, follow. Do all that. I'm going to have the slow version on YouTube. I'll speed it up for TikTok and the other platforms, and I'll chop it up into pieces. So I hope you guys like this. This is just pretty much off the top of my head, my thoughts and my feelings, and I'm just leaving people's names out of it because it's irrelevant. It's just to give you context of what was going on between 1999 all the way up until, after that, like when I started bouncing back and forth, trying to figure shit out after I got ran off to my first job. So this is my car chat. Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Bye.